So the second thing that I wanted to talk about was balling on a budget. Now, the reality is we're just coming out of a recession, and even if the foreign exchange has come down a bit, prices haven't caught up. They're still high. They have not come down yet. So it is so incredibly expensive to go to typical Nigerian destinations like London or the States. I personally can't afford to go to London this summer, so I'm looking for alternatives. Now, in being in South Africa, I was asking all these questions about, okay, yes, even if everything that we're doing here is for free, I wanted to talk to the tour operators and ask them, so how much does this cost? How much does this cost? How much does this cost? And I was laughing when I heard the prices, because I thought, I'm sure the people who are watching this, like on social media, probably think, that thing will be expensive, it's for rich people, because it's just so far out there. I personally would have never thought about, oh, let me go here and then go zip lining. Who does that? But it's actually not bad at all. Can you imagine, ziplining for one person was like 250 rand. Now, let me put this in perspective. 1 South African rand is equal to 24 naira. So basically, that's like 6K. Can you imagine? 6K to go ziplining. It's a once in a lifetime experience. So things like the big swing was about 350 rand. Not a lot. And then to eat is like, and I like food. I'm a chopper. I'm a foodie. And I like all these like mede, you know, I like fancy stuff. So I also like raw stuff too, but we'll get there. But basically, if you wanted to have like a nice steak with potatoes and 2 glasses of wine, it will cost you like 350 to 400 rand, which is not even up to 10,000 naira. There are restaurants in Nigeria that you cannot go to. There are restaurants in Lagos you cannot go to with that money and eat, you know, what I'm talking about. The food is incredibly cheap. So I love that. What else? Like the most expensive thing that we probably did was elephant riding, which was like 1,800 rand. So basically, if you put all of that, you know, in perspective, it is actually not that expensive. One of the hotels that we stayed in was the Wild Coast Sun in Durban. It cost about 2,000 rand to stay there per night. That's like just under 50,000 naira. There are hotels in Lagos that you cannot stay in for 50,000 naira, and you have not even left the country. And the room was huge. It had 2 beds, I don't know why, and like 2 double beds, and it had a fantastic view of the beach. So it's value for money. So you can do more for less. One of the things that I love South Africa for is it's in Africa, so it's basically in our backyard, but it has like a mix of like Europe and America. So you're enjoying like the best of both worlds in Africa. It's crazy. The third thing I want to talk about is a little bit controversial, but I feel like it needs to be said. So, how to convert your problems into opportunities. I was listening to a podcast recently, and the woman was saying how, you know, for most people, if you are overwhelmed by something, you know, terrible, like a financial problem, what most people tend to do is hide, right? They tend to avoid phone calls and that kind of thing, or they tend to get defensive, but that sometimes to solve the problem is wiser to go on the offense, right? So she gave an example. She was like, so for example, let's say you owe someone $10,000, as opposed to waiting for the person to call you when you know you can't pay, is to go on the offensive and say, hey, I know I owe you $10,000, I'll pay you in 3 months, and I'll pay it like this. It might not always work, but it might be a more effective strategy. Okay, what does this have to do with my South African experience? I'll tell you. A lot of the time, when we go on these trips, you get comments like, and they post the pictures on blogs and stuff, you get comments like, these people, they are traitors. Why are you going to South Africa to promote their tourism instead of promoting Nigerian tourism? And they are killing Nigerians in South Africa, and you're helping them. Promote your own country. And I'm like, bruh, number one, have you ever heard? Then tell us, say, Nigerian government invite Arese, say, oh, come out, pay you XYZ, and you can go and promote Nigerian tourism. And I said, no. No, we don't have those kind of programs yet. Now, the second thing is, yes, xenophobia is, I still can't wrap my head around it because it is such an insane, thing. Like, it's terrible. But it is not representative of the South African people as a whole. Just the same way Boko Haram, a select few people in the north, like doing all the things that they're doing, is terrible for our country. But they are not representative of me. They are not representative of Nigeria. I would still want to attract foreign direct investment into Nigeria to grow our economy, because I know that we have a lot of opportunities. We have so much potential. I wouldn't want people to be scared off by Boko Haram. It's just like the media. When you go, I was in Greece one time, and I remember a DJ asking me, oh my God, like, is your house intact? Is everything, whatever, how are you here? Because he imagines, when he sees the whole Boko Haram thing in the news, he imagines that we're all being slaughtered, and it's a terrible thing that's happening that we need to deal with as in our country, but it's not representative of the entire country. Just the same way xenophobia is not representative of how South Africans feel about Nigerians. And then there's the other thing about the visas. Like, so it's one of my friends who's a businessman, and travels to South Africa all the time, was saying to me, but why is it so hard to get visas? Like, why is there so much bureaucracy, to get visas? Because they spend this much money, putting you guys, they spend this much money flying you guys out there, showcasing all the fantastic things that are there, and then other people are interested in going as a result of that, but they can't go because they don't have access to visas. Now, I'm like, do you know what? Actually, it's true. This sucks. So I ask questions, and it turns out it's a problem. Just like in every government, can we say our own government doesn't have a problem? As in, just like with every situation, it's a problem. They have a capacity problem that they're trying to solve, and they're trying to put measures in place to make it faster for Nigerians to get visas. Now, I'm not saying that they're perfect. I'm just saying, yes, these problems exist, but what can we learn from this situation? Even as a people, like as a country, and as businesses. So you have an obstacle. Are you going to allow that part of it to define you? South Africa has recognized that tourism is a huge part of driving the economy, right? So instead of being defensive, they're going on the offense and saying, what better way to show Nigerians that we love them by taking a group of them and showcasing very publicly how fantastic, our country is, and hosting them in the most friendly way as in possible. Like, listen, it was amazing. And I think that everyone that's ever been on this trip can attest to the fact that South African Tourism Board is very collaborative. Like, Hloni is the most amazing. Like, I can't tell you how many opportunities have opened up for me in terms of networking, in terms of them, helping with publicity for my book and creating several different opportunities that I'm super grateful for at no, cost. It's a blessing, really. So what I'm saying is this: let's not allow our obstacles to define us. Let us see, okay, we have this potential. How can we put structures around it? How can we package it so that we can sell our own tourism to other people? Because going on those trips just makes me realize that there's so much potential that we have as a country. We're just not harnessing it. We're allowing, petty stuff to get in our way. Okay, so I hope that you found that helpful. I'd love to see your comments below the video. I'd love to see your tweets. Please share the video on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and follow me on @SmartMoneyArese. And please subscribe to the vlog. I really appreciate it. Bye, guys.